Okay, well, Bulavanaka and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first of a series of webinars we are hosting looking at e-commerce opportunities for Fijian SMEs and exporters, where each session will have a speaker from a different e-commerce platform to give you information and guidance about how to get online and to promote your products. By way of introduction, my name is Daniel. I'm the Manager for Trade and Investment at the Fiji Trade Commission located in Sydney. We also have a team based in Auckland, and we work to provide new market access for Fijian-made goods and facilitate exports from Fiji to Australia and New Zealand. So make sure you get in touch with us after this if you are looking at exporting. But first, a bit of background about the webinar itself and why we're doing this. So obviously with the enforcement of social distancing, lockdowns, and other measures in response to COVID-19. This has really led consumers to ramp up their internet use and online shopping. And the result has been spikes in both B2C sales and an increase in B2B e-commerce as well. The pandemic has really made it clear that e-commerce can be an important solution and tool for both consumers and businesses, and can indeed be an economic driver in a lot of cases for both domestic growth and international trade. So it's important to think about your online presence to ensure that you're using this time now to be in a stronger position than perhaps when you were, and to be visible when people are searching for your products online. So we've put together this webinar series to introduce you to a range of different e-commerce platforms to really help you do this. So just some housekeeping. I'll shortly introduce our first speaker for this webinar, followed by a Q&A session. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A function. I would definitely encourage all of our attendees and participants to utilize that Q&A function, so that throughout the presentation, if you have questions, pop them in there. So then at the end of the presentation, we can go through them, and we'll try to get through as many as we can in the time that we have. But look, without further ado, I'm very excited to introduce our speaker for this session, Mr. John Magnifico. He's the co-founder of Pacificcell, which is a digital e-commerce platform for Fiji and the Pacific Islands to allow market access to informal businesses, SMEs and large businesses who don't have the budget or the ability to provide these services themselves. A bit about John: he has over 25 years management leadership experience as an ICT professional, advisor, and international consultant. John is also a trusted advisor to many boards and is currently director of the IT subcommittee at FNPF. He understands local challenges and opportunities in Fiji, and has worked with a number of global organizations, and has unique digital transformation experience working with in a wide number of industries across a number of different markets. John specializes in providing business and ICT strategy, large-scale program management, governance, and advisory assistance to his clients. And John knows firsthand the benefits that the digital economy can bring. So without further ado, I will hand over to John.
Thank you very much, Daniel, and thank you to the Trade Commission, Australia, New Zealand, and to Fiji for setting up this wonderful opportunity for people to get information, which I think is fantastic. Just remind me to change my bio. I think 25 years is making me sound a little bit old there, so I might have to just change that, just the mental note. But thank you for the lovely introduction. So welcome. I've got a few slides to go through. I'm going to go pretty fast, so hopefully everyone can keep following. I just want to give as much information and then open up for questions. So this is all about e-commerce opportunities for Fiji. So just to give you a little bit of background of the Pacificcell story, I always think it's good context. So this is sort of my journey over the time. So I started in telecommunications and went through all sorts of transformation before even digital transformation became known. So it was from telco, I did big speech recognition projects, did transformation projects, used a lot of data analytics and IoT, what would be called IoT now, did a lot of work in contact centers, and as Daniel indicated, digital transformation. More recently, that became more around cybersecurity transformations as well, because now that you're online, businesses are more susceptible to risk. But, you know, my partner and I in 2017 decided, well, you know, we've helped a lot of big companies. You know, what are we actually, what's the purpose? You know, what value are we adding? Who are we helping? So we decided then to just move, you know, have a sea change, for want of a better word. And we moved to Fiji. And our goal was to really assist Fiji from our background around digital transformation, put people before profits. So the plan was to have purpose, as I said. We also wanted to create an example for our two children. So they're 6 and 9 now, so they were a little bit younger 3 years ago. And as I mentioned, put people before profits. But for those in Fiji and the Pacific region, know it's a different environment to, say, the likes of Australia, New Zealand. So we found it a struggle to try to, help or provide assistance and add value. And it was hard to accelerate things. We wanted to go faster. We wanted to help inflict this change or help change things quicker. We've seen it with a lot of international companies, but we saw the opportunity for Fiji to really go at a greater pace, and we're looking at ways to accelerate that, which is always challenging, but getting to know the environment really helped us. And finally, we wanted to have a greater impact. So we were sort of struggling, and then basically I was fortunate. So Janice is my partner there on the left. We had a great group of like-minded friends. So myself, obviously there with Patrick Lawson, who's one of our co-founders, who's been living and breathing agriculture, and then Jeff Watkins, who's really experienced the business side of working in the Pacific with experience across some of the big organizations like Fijiccell. So we came together and we were saying, well, how can we change this? What can we do? So then we all had this epiphany that, what did Fiji really need? It needed e-commerce. It needed the ability for everyone to start transacting 24/7, particularly rural areas, and get an idea of what the market is. I mean, the good example we always give is the women artisans each year organised by the Ministry of Women, Children, Poverty Alleviation have a trade exhibition, and in 3 days, I think in 2018, they sold nearly $500,000 in 3 days. I mean, that's just extraordinary. So imagine if they could be selling, maybe a week, but imagine they had an ability to sell all through the year. So that's just one little use case. And we really firmly believe e-commerce will transform. It's basically it's $1 trillion market, as you can see here. It's going to, and what the interesting thing is, it's actually moving from more of the Western, developed countries. It's going beyond that. It started in America, Europe, and now it's expanding into Asia and then the rest of the world. And that's where the opportunity really is for Fiji. So you can start local, but what's also happening with e-commerce is now people are buying cross-border. And there's a huge diaspora market in Fiji where a lot of either expats or people support families and friends back in Fiji. So that on its own is one example, but then people want to buy Fiji-made goods. So again, it's all about enabling the local community and then expanding that globally. So that might be good. It's always good to have an idea, but there's always the what, why, and particularly the how you're going to do it. And this is a complex problem. And interestingly enough, as I've been dealing with Daniel there and the Trade Commission for a while, and actually some of the challenges actually appeared from the conversation we were having around payment gateways and access to being able to take payments in Fiji being one of the biggest problems. So from that, the problem only got bigger. So, it's expensive in Fiji. I mean, it can be tens of thousands of dollars just to get enabled. So obviously a small market vendor can't do that. A small artisan can't do that. It takes a long time. It's months and months. Some people tell us years. I mean, we know some big businesses have even tried to do e-commerce and spent about 2 years and still haven't been successful. And there's also the drivers, right? So there's high dependence on imported products and services. So lack of data is always a big one that comes up. And what we discovered as well, particularly for informal businesses, that they don't have a record of what they're doing. They've actually got sizable businesses they could go and get loans for, but they've got no record of their sales, their expenses, the sort of information that the banks will need if they want to get financing and expand. And finally, there's a limited inclusion for women in business, and we really feel that this will help and enhance that. And the Minister for Local Government now, the ministry's changed, but basically, like Kumar was quoted about getting the private sector to step up. So that's where hopefully we fit in. So I'll briefly go through this. So I've covered this a little bit, but essentially there's huge opportunities for e-commerce, and it's only going to continue to grow. Particularly in Fiji, we've been lucky by the government and the telcos here, particularly around mobile payments. It's really promoted the ability for people to be familiar with this. And there's large amounts of remittances already going to $2.2 million monthly. But it's only really penetrating through one country. And there's also 94 countries that send remittances to Fiji through diaspora. So the opportunity for Fiji locally to go globally is huge. Then our analysis was that we need public partnerships. We need a comprehensive ecosystem, as I mentioned. We can't just have an app. And, this has been my experience with large businesses too. It's not, a lot of people think, oh, I'll get a mobile app and that'll solve the problem. No, it's only a small piece of it. We also needed a system that worked in with the supply chain, because a lot of these solutions come out, like, for example, a mobile app, and it will try to cut out the middle people in the supply chain, which doesn't work. We also need a way of easily promoting women in business culture. So again, apps can be a bit, dismissive there and doesn't fit into the way things work. And we needed both data, we needed a community, and we needed to always have innovation. So, and this is a bit of an agricultural lens, because we always have a view for some of the fundamental businesses in Fiji, but essentially there's a complex problem with multi-dimensions, and it wasn't just about e-commerce even, it was all about parts of the supply chain and market access. And I've covered some of these challenges already, but in short, we needed an easy way for people to be able to get online and not make it difficult. And we needed this in a complete ecosystem that was easy to use, it had digital commerce, had a marketplace, had an e-learning environment so people could learn remotely, and we had to have strong analytics to make sure we had data to continually refine, but also support the different stakeholders. So that's where Pacificcell was born. And just to dig deeper into that, what exactly is Pacificcell? So we've got a mobile and web application as part of other components that it's, you can categorize all items. The vendors each have a store. So whether you can call them a merchant, a vendor, or a seller with different terminology, but someone who has some form of product they want to market, they have a store, and they can, your buyers will see that on both the web or the mobile. We have integrations with Google and Facebook accounts. So there's like frictionless sign in, and we geolocate. So we ability to reference your products. If I'm a buyer that comes in, I can see, where the vegetables are in my local area, etc. And always security, as you saw on my bio, I've got cybersecurity background. So we've got to make sure your data is protected. And my partner's a lawyer, so we've covered from a GDPR and privacy perspective as well. And we encrypt the information, so it's very secure. And then finally, expanding just from marketplace, there's three other components as a connect. So there's a whole collaboration environment where pretty much it's a private Facebook just dedicated for people who are wanting to promote business and interact in Fiji around this area. We've got a whole e-learning system, a learning management system. So we've got full capabilities to do formal training classes online, which is perfect around this environment. Plus, we've got the marketplace, which we also give incentives for people to earn money, not only if they have a store, but if they make referrals to other people who buy a store. So people can actually earn money as referrals to the platform. So once again, it's a complete ecosystem from online learning. We even have digital agriculture covered as well. We've got a collaboration environment. There's online support. We've got staff to help you. We've got customized web and mobile applications, and there's the marketplace. So, and we've been quoted you here, Daniel. So this is a great initiative and one that will certainly help pioneer Fiji. So you're a bit ahead of your time. I think that's about 12 months old, but thank you for that acknowledgement. So we just really feel it's a good solution, and the timing couldn't be any better now that we really realize that, well, particularly on an agriculture side, the smaller, even backyard farmers are potential. People have got losing their jobs. So if they could just grow some vegetables, for example, and one of our other businesses actually around this, they could also then grow a little bit extra and sell that and get some extra money for their families. So we just think it's a perfect combination of everything here. So it's available now. Whole ecosystem, as I talked about. Key features I mentioned. So there's already over 100 people online, and we haven't really promoted this yet. So we're just about to go into a huge campaign where we're doing another enhancement to the platform, and we're piloting delivery capabilities both in Suva and Nandi. So we talked about the whole ecosystem. We talked about these components, but basically we've got ability to give assistance to everyone. We're looking at partnerships with various organizations. we've got an ability to categorize all industries. So we actually started with a very agriculture focused approach, but then we realized, well, even if you're in agriculture, even a farmer is selling other products. So quite quickly we expanded out. So it covers any sort of thing you would like to market or sell. We've integrated with MPay, so we've got mobile money capabilities, and we've actually got our own mobile wallet. So you can actually put credit on our platform and then start exchanging goods and services just through the wallet. And you've got great analytic data to reference. Here's a social network, so it's very Facebook-like, and you can actually sign in with your Facebook account. You can create groups, private or public groups, and you can invite different members. You can store different things, and it's integrated with the marketplace. Here's an example of the online learning platform, and we've got a few examples here around agriculture. But these are full courses, and we're working with a lot of other bodies who want to we're open to putting other people's material on here as well. Here's the marketplace. So we've got, as I mentioned, all these different categories because we started with an agriculture lens, but we slowly expanded. One area we were opening up to is we just helped one of the local orphanages just get some supplies. So we actually saw a need that a lot of these charities don't have a way of collecting money. So we're going to offer this free to charities so they can have a store up there. And this store basically you actually donate. So your payment is a donation. So that's a great way of getting support for these charities, amongst other things. So look, we feel that we've got a Pacificcell solution that will boost Fiji's economy, particularly from food security, and it'll grow from there. It'll help the dramatic swings now we've seen with COVID-19, provide a platform to mitigate risk from job loss and create other income streams. And if anything, just allow them to have access to well-priced goods and services. And we're building in. We actually have the capability, but we've got a delivery capability already. But we just want to pilot that very slowly. So how it works is quite simple. You register online. You can either be a buyer or a seller. If you're a seller, you'll get a store and you'll get access, and you can publish your products. Once you publish your products, it's on the marketplace to be sold. And then we actually, one of the differentiations we have with our Ecommerce platform, we don't just accept electronic payments. So we actually allowed cash payments because we know people will start to slowly adopt this. So we don't want to change behavior straight away. It's an evolution. So you can just organize, people can buy from you, it's been sold, and then they can go and pick it up and pay you in cash. So delivery is the next level where we're looking at piloting, but the base delivery is that the buyer just goes to you and pick them up like normal. So this is great. For example, again, an agriculture use case. Some of the farmers are going to the market. Now, what about if they can be already guaranteed half of their goods are going to be sold before they even get to the market? Now, this really changes the dynamic for them. So this is really why we opened up that paid angle. And of course, at the end, you get paid. So we have different ways of dispersing that, direct into bank accounts, put it into your wallet, or back through the digital mobile money platforms. So we have a simple registration form. You can actually connect with your Facebook account. We're adding all the other, so we've got all the other social connectors as well. You give us some basic information. Then you get a page where you need to enter your store details. So this is one of our other businesses. So it's not private data, it's our data, so I'm happy to share with you. So you enter your details in there, put some images on your store, you define some products, and basically you publish that, and you can actually have the ability to import, export products as well, and you can change the layout of that store. And then this is an example of one of the stores where people, this group are selling Dillo's soap. So it's available, and then you basically pick an item, order it, go to checkout, pay, buy one of the payment methods, and you're done. As I mentioned, we're looking at delivery and fulfillment. So delivery, we're going to pilot two mechanisms, and we're actually looking to support the taxi industry because they're obviously, particularly in the West, there's been a huge decline with tourism pretty much stopping. So we're trying to invigorate that by supporting the taxi drivers. So we're looking at ways potentially piloting there. And also in Suva, we've got a few women-focused delivery businesses, which is really, we're all about empowerment of women. So we're looking at piloting that with a few restaurants and small businesses. And then the final step was actually getting paid. So there's a whole dashboard and you can see your accounts. And this is very good. If you're going to go to the bank, you can actually get a record of your transactions, your revenue. So you can show them that you're actually making money, and that, if you're looking for financing. And the government just announced a really good package for MSMEs around getting funding that, you've got to obviously go through a process, but this will actually help. So if you get that funding, you'll be able to track your sales and be able to show that you're capable of repaying. So what does it cost? So we've got 4 plans. So what we've done is we try to make this as easy to get into as possible. So we've actually got a free plan for a few products. Anyone can use it. So whether you're just selling things personally, you can put up a quick store and just put those goods you're selling at home, or whether, there's a big push now around bartering. So even if you want to barter your goods, you can put them up and you can put a price on application, or make me an offer. So people can either exchange a good, or then maybe someone actually wants to pay for your goods that you want to barter. So why not try to get some cash for it? So we're trying to, and then informal businesses, micro SMEs, so anyone in that basic scale can get a store. And then we have 3 plans, and this is really a subscription model, and it's very, very cost effective. It's 50 cents a day, but a little bit around that price point. But essentially, a market vendor pays about $3 for a little stand at the market for 1 day. So that's $3 a day, so it's $9 a month. So, this is quite small when you've got now 24/7, plus you've also got the ability to, if your products suit that, to sell internationally. So there's a bit more details about our products, which we can get into with the questions. Now, the big announcement now, we finally want to go big and start promoting this. So we've been doing in a targeted way with some targeted partnerships. So we're about to launch a contest, which we've got some pretty big prizes, like in terms of lifetime access or large access to our platform. And we've got a lot of giveaways for anyone who enters. So, and there's a lot of rewards along the way as well, which I'll show you. So I'm just going to share a quick video put together by Shimron, one of our amazing team. So I'll let you just listen to that. And so it's pretty straightforward. How do you get a free online store? Basically, go to Pacificcell, or you can contact us through our Facebook page. And it will help. If you can't follow the steps, our team will definitely help you through the process. So I've went through that extremely fast because I thought it'd be best to allow as much time for questions. So I hope that gives you an understanding of what we've got. And Daniel, if maybe I'll throw it back to you. If there's any questions, or you guys got any questions, we can go in a bit more detail.
Yeah, no worries. So firstly, thank you so much, John, for providing that overview and also your insights for Pacificcell and the e-commerce landscape in Fiji. I suppose that's the benefit of having someone like you and having a platform like Pacificcell, in terms of it being a e-commerce marketplace specifically designed for Fiji and for the Pacific Islands. And as you noted, something that will really, I think, pioneer that landscape. And as you said, you've already got quite a bit of experience in it. We've got one question from Gabriella Wong to start. So how different have sales been since they joined e-commerce? So I suppose for the vendors who are on your platform, John, has there been sort of an uptick in sales, or have you seen any kind of analytics or data to I suppose speak the benefits of the platform?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's been a lot. I mean, we're actually, interestingly enough, we've seen a big demand from overseas. I think about 80% of our traffic comes from US and Australia. So, but yeah, just across the board, there's a lot of demand, and we're not seeing it as much locally, but we definitely over the last few weeks, I think it's taken COVID to really shock everyone. So COVID shocked everyone, and now we're about 2 months in, and then the amount of inquiries have gone through the roof. The people on there, want to enhance more functionality. So, long answer to the question, yeah, definitely the demand has been significantly increasing. But just to share with you, we've really been in a very soft launch mode. only with a few, almost like friendly customers. And just from there, it's kind of organically got around. So really, this is almost our formal launch. So, we've got a lot of data driving it, but it's about to sort of get into another level.
Awesome. No worries. There was also a question of whether the presentation can be circulated amongst the attendees. So, these slides that you've got up, John, is this something we can share with those who are listening in?
Yeah, sure. I can send around for you, and then we'll put it on our web platforms as well.
Sure.
And
no worries, sure. Cool. So we can share that. Yep, no worries. Thank you, Kavita, for your question. From Indrani, sorry, it said customer education is key. How are we targeting that? So I suppose how are you sort of promoting this as a place for people to come on and buy itself, right?
Yeah, great question. So was that about just training in general, or was it also about promoting the platform?
It's for the customers specifically, I think. It like, yeah.
So what we do that a number of different ways. So given our background, we actually specialize in digital transformation and also the marketing side. So there's ability for that to scale up. So the more people on the platform, the more traffic we get. And we've seen that go up. That's what I mentioned the US just recently. So we promote that. We have abilities for individual stores to get promotion. So we can actually target like advertising campaigns for various owners who pay an additional price for that. But just generally, we do a lot of marketing behind the scenes for all the stores. And we actually connect in with Facebook's new launch of their Facebook shop. So all the products are about to get synced to Facebook as well. So everyone who has a store, those products will be synced to our Facebook account. And then again, there'll be another reach in terms of that. But yeah, great question. Then on the education side, we're actually doing a lot of the offline sort of marketing, both, education series, seminars and things like that. Plus we do training as well, which we attract people to the ecosystem to get information. And in getting that information, we also attract more customers. So we've got a paid advertisement strategy, more if you want to think of it, an SEO strategy by content marketing. And then we've got an offline strategy around the training programs we do and the education we do. Like we're connected with different forums and we're partnering with different groups. So that way it all comes together to help. And then we encourage our store owners as well. Just say, like, for example, we've got a person who does honey. So they're looking at doing training for people on how to get into that business or what they can do with honey. And then they put up videos and education material, helps their business and also helps the people wanting to come and get more information. And then they see more people selling products. So again, it's all like a complete circular loop there.
Yeah, fantastic. And there's a question that someone's out in lockdown. How would I be able to buy it and sell it to receive payment? Would you be able to provide any guidance on that one, John?
Is this like if you receive payment from your store?
I believe so. There's it's fine.
Okay, I'll explain it two ways. So if you can earn money two ways, you can actually just, if you've got friends, just say you may know 5 people with businesses. If you refer to them, we've got a structure where we'll reward you for that. And actually the good news is we'll reward you every year they stay as a customer. So, you can get an income stream from this. So that's one. But if you've got a store, so what we do is, and that's part of it, we sort of act like escrow. We take that payment on behalf and then we pay that back into either direct debit into your accounts, or we can even pay into M-Pesa accounts.
Great, no worries. And there's also another question about for delivery. So there's a cost that people pay to be on here. Does it cost cover like taxi deliveries, or because I know that's something that you're obviously looking at implementing?
Yeah. So from a delivery point of view, it'll be on 2 levels. So we want to offer a platform-wide delivery service, right? But that's probably stage 2. Stage 1 would be per store. You make arrangements either with, say, the taxi group in your area. And this is why we're looking at taxis as one of the best opportunities, because they're sort of already zoned through councils and things into certain areas. So, and we will just agree on a delivery fee, but it's obviously going to be, a modest fee.
No worries. And an observation from Stuart as well, that 99% in Fiji, don't have credit cards. Can they do cash through mobile or through M-Pesa? I think it's something you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah. So we accept M-Pesa, but that's a great question. That's why we deliberately made sure we don't restrict cash payments. So while it might seem a little strange, because that's obviously the nature of e-commerce, but we want to provide it as a service. So just say, and I gave that example before, I'm a market vendor and I've got regular customers. They can put an order with me and I have it ready for them, and they get stuck in traffic or get delayed in the morning, but I still have their order there and I know I've got a guaranteed sale. They pop up in the afternoon, I just take cash from them, but they place their order from the platform.
Okay. Yeah, great. No worries. And there's a question around training in general. She's from Indrani again, saying that some MSMEs aren't that technology advanced to be able to use or understand this digital platform. So, I mean, I suppose from your side, John, is there any kind of services or help or support that you offer from Pacificcell to, I suppose, educate or upskill or train businesses and MSMEs to actually get on the platform?
Yeah, that's a good question. Great question. So we actually did a joint venture with UNDP around creating another space in Nandi called Quantum Space for that very purpose, to have a physical spot where we can train. And we're very connected, as you probably saw from the presentation, with agriculture. So we're having conversations with the Ministry of Agriculture around this too. But yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to solve. And make sure there's many different channels, not just online. So you can physically come somewhere, or there's train the trainer, or there might be someone in the village who knows about it and they can train other people. So we're going to have education. We're building education programs to help all those different layers, and how they get delivered is again on many channels. So we want face-to-face, train the trainer, have champions around it. So yeah, we hope to. And please give us any ideas if you've got any better suggestions. But yeah, we're open to it. But we definitely see that as part of the key part of the ecosystem.
Great, no worries. Yeah, and as I said, education around digital literacy and e-commerce itself is obviously the requisite element. So it's about, I suppose, building that groundswell as well. There's some interest as well about the recent SME packages announced by the government, which I'm happy to send to people individually or provide more information on. So if anyone has questions on that, please feel free to contact the Trade Commission directly. One from Colleen, it said, do you have to sign a contract or set a certain number of months, or is it a month by month? So if people are signing on, what's the subscription kind of?
Yeah, great question. So we've got two pricing models. So yeah, you can go month to month, no obligation to continue. Or if you do a 12 months recurring, we give you a substantial discount for doing that. So
great. No worries. And one from Nida, what about sales outside the Pacific from Fiji? Any options?
Well, yeah, I sort of alluded to that. So thanks for that question. So that is the interesting thing straight away that came up. So we always envisaged that would happen, but we focused on providing an ability for local sales. But we're getting so much interest and hits from overseas, as I said. I mean, I think 90% of the traffic is outside of Fiji. So what we're doing is actually, we've had conversations with some of the courier companies like DHL and things like that. So it obviously depends on the type of product, but yeah, we're looking at ways of doing that. So in a very simplistic form, yeah, straight away, like one of our, actually Shimron in our team, I'll do a little plug for her. She had a sari store. And so she was getting inquiries from Australia and New Zealand, but she couldn't do anything about it. Now that, we have this platform, that market's now opened up to her. So I hope that answered the question.
Great. Yeah, no worries. There's a couple other questions. There's one about payment modes again, but again, we'll make those available that were covered in the slides. One question saying, are you also providing essential marketing services to help promote the Fijian brands on your platform, like designing, photography, quote unquote nitty gritty? So in terms of the content itself that vendors might put on their website, I suppose they're asking if there's any support on that front.
So just so I play that question back, so is that like using local assistants to help with like photography or content for their actual site themselves?
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah, I suppose they're asking that if they put information up on the platform, if there's any help with either the photography or those nitty gritty bits and pieces.
Yeah, great question. So exactly, we've got a support team that actually is there to help, and that's a lot of the time people forget these things. So again, that example of just having an app. So you have an app, but who's supporting it? Where do you go if you've got questions? How do I load things? And a little bit back to that question, you need to have offline training. So yeah, the answer is yes. Our team are there to help. We're going to have training information, and again, there's a bandwidth provided to do that. So we give you as much information as we can to help you do that.
Great, awesome, no worries. And someone commenting that said we have a lot of calls from our products from Australia, New Zealand, United States, but they're not able to provide online. Not actually sure if there's a question there, so to speak. I had a comment from Kelly Stanbury from 300 Islands, who we know quite well. Yeah, she said she got lots of questions, so we'll facilitate an introduction accordingly, so we can have that conversation. Another question saying how are disputes resolved if a customer is not satisfied with the product or purchase from the vendor, or for example, if the item is not per description otherwise. So
yeah, I mean, that's sort of the benefit of using a platform like Pacificcell. So we act as escrow, and fortunately my partner is a lawyer, so that helps to have these right frameworks in place. But yeah, so effectively we're escrow. So we can ensure before payment is made to vendors, the quality assurance is there. And it goes both ways as well. There's got to be good expectations from the consumers as well of product. And then again, my partner is very big on this about alternative dispute resolution and mediation. So actually having a conversation, about the problem, and usually it can be resolved. So in short, yes, we act by virtue of our design as escrow to protect both buyer and seller.
Great, that's awesome. I've also got a comment just for those listening from Jeremy Grenell at Pacific Trade Investor Australia, and thanks Jeremy for tuning in and for providing your question. So he's saying Samoa has a marketplace where the diaspora in Australia and New Zealand can order groceries and other products for their relatives back in Samoa. It's paid for in Australia, New Zealand, and then paid and delivered to the door in Samoa. So a good comparison point there. One question from Lakima said, how do you assist your sellers on the platform deliver goods to other Pacific Island countries? Delivering them in Fiji's is not a big issue. They said they use couriers like CDP or EMS. The issue is getting it out of Fiji at a reasonable price for the buyers.
Yeah. So that's always a great question around the reasonable price. So the volume, it's a question of the volume usually with that sort of thing. But as mentioned, we actually started that conversation very, very early when I mentioned one of our team, Shimon example with the Sari product. So we'd started a conversation with the likes of DHL earlier, and they're very receptive to helping that. In a question of the financial viability, well, again, as we grow and as is a bigger market, and maybe this is something, Daniel, we can look at getting some incentives to support export through the ministry, but we can only try to drive that down by showing there's market and market volume specifically.
Yep, no worries. And there's a thing, what percentage of sales will be for the cost of using your platform? From Sakasi, that's a question.
Is that like a fee?
Yeah, I suppose asking, what percentage I suppose goes into the platform itself.
And then that's why we went down a model of subscription. So we're trying to keep it like low cost at the low end, and there's a subscription fee, and we only pass on merchant charges. So like, for example, M-Pesa's capped or free. There's a free period as well. So generally speaking, those charges are low. Credit card charges are a little bit higher, unfortunately, but most of those purchases would probably come from overseas markets just generally. So we don't make, we haven't planned to take any transaction fee as such. It's based on subscriptions.
Okay, great. And someone from a service provider says, I run a cartage company and a physio center. Does e-commerce or I suppose Pacificcell support service providers?
So that's a great question. So we're just about to revamp our platform to our next release, in that we're going to offer bookings for the exact same thing of service providers. So you'll be able to use it to book. It can be your point of sale as well. So, and you'll be able to use this, anyone will be able to use this as their form of point of sale and take orders from customers when they come into their store or wherever they are. So in short, yes, we're just about to, maybe we're about a week or two away, and they'll be able to take bookings.
Great. Awesome. I've got a question from Richard Russell as well. So we have an existing e-commerce store. Can it be uploaded onto the Pacificcell market?
Yeah, for sure. You can export out of your current and import it there. So
Awesome.
we do have a lot of people showing interest, having a dual strategy in using that.
Awesome. And is there capacity for videos on the marketplace, or is it just photos, or would
Yeah,
consumers
we can. We've got two angles for that. So both in our next release, we're actually adding video capability from the store point of view, but on the actual Pacificcell itself in the ecosystem where you can create groups. So what we encourage people to do is if you've got a store, create an interest group around the products or services you're doing, and there you can actually, a little bit like YouTube, you can put videos and other content. Plus, you're also welcome to get in touch with us about training material as well, which is a great lead generating tool. So, again, those people usually have content, how to do something. It's sort of like do it yourself, and then they come to you, do it for me. So, you can take advantage of our training or our social groups for that.
Right. And on their listing on Pacificcell, can they also link it to like their Facebook page or their Instagram or Twitter handle or anything?
Yeah. So at the moment, again, we're just updating that, but you'll be able to put all your links to all your social pages around that.
Great, no worries. Another question saying, how about shipping from Fiji to New Zealand? Any waivers on freight charges or vice versa? And yeah, I suppose that's a question for us in government as well, to look at what kind of incentives we can provide for exports. Obviously, going the other way is sort of out of jurisdiction, but and I suppose for troubleshooting and support that people need for the platform, John, what's the best rate for them to reach you? How can they?
Thanks for that question. So we've got many levels of support. So step one, just between yourself if you've got a store and the potential buyers, we've got an interactive chat. So while they're shopping, they can talk to you. So that's great to make sure you don't lose that lead. So that's one level. Then we've got a knowledge base. So we've got a full knowledge base forum part of capabilities, part of the platform. There's the social groups as well. So we've got FAQs, we've got training videos, plus then we've got our own support team who via live chat you can interact with.
Awesome. No worries. Thank you for that. And John will also be, as I said, making these slides available, which we'll make sure to share with everybody. So if you need to get in touch with John directly, then he'll be able to provide further guidance and support. Got some people saying that they'd love to join and sign up, and that is a great idea. So it seems like a good place to start wrapping things up. So again, I'd like to thank John for taking the time to present things and to run through not just your insights about the market, but the platform itself. As I said, I think it'll be a great way for a lot of these Fijian businesses to actually enter the market. It certainly provides a low point of entry for them. So we look forward to seeing how things progress. As you said, they've got a number of updates happening to the platform, and we look forward to having you also back on as part of this webinar series as well. Perhaps you can provide us with the next steps or some other areas that we can talk through. For our attendees, just as an FYI, for our next webinar, we'll be hearing from the team at Shopify. So that's on Wednesday, the 10th of June at same time, so 2 p.m. Fiji time. We'll be sending out the information for that shortly. We'll be putting it on our website and socials as well, so keep an eye out for that. But again, next Wednesday, 2 o'clock, we're going to be hearing from the team at Shopify about how you can utilize their platform. Again, John, I'd like to thank you once more for coming online and chatting to us and speaking to everyone here. Was there any kind of parting words or any last remarks you wanted to add?
I just firstly thank you, Daniel, and the team there at the Trade Commission. It's really, I think these things are invaluable, and your assistance is fantastic. And I'm glad I could do a plug for the ministry around the grants and loans that they're doing. So please let them know that I helped you there.
Absolutely.
But no, just to everyone on, like, we're here to add value and work together. Please give us feedback. Any questions? We've got a whole team of people very motivated and passionate about this area and wanting to help Fiji. I think take advantage of this constraint period to transform ourselves, and once the borders are open, we can really accelerate our digital transformation.
Awesome. No worries, and a lot of thank yous coming in. So, on behalf of the attendees here, very much again appreciate your time, and so certainly emphasize that point. But utilizing this time now to get yourself in a stronger position and be part of the new normal that we're coming into in the post-COVID era. So with that, now thanks again, John, and thank you everyone for your attendance this afternoon. I know everyone's always very busy. We'll send out information from this session, and then also about the next session with the team of Shopify as well. So Naka Monde, and we'll see you all again soon.
Thanks very much. Bye.